I am Troy Hall, writer, producer, actor of the Dissection of Thanksgiving.
I'm Kevin Logie. I'm a writer, producer, actor of the Dissection of Thanksgiving, and I play Charlie.
I'm Ritu Chandra, and I'm one of the producers of Dissection of Thanksgiving.
Well, it's wonderful to have you guys here. My first question to all our interviewees is, what was the spark of inspiration that started this whole thing? Or the many sparks?
There were so many sparks, Marco. Kevin and I, met doing improv at taking UCB improv classes and did some shows there and stuff. And the moment we met, it was just every time we got up there, we were just trying to one-up each other, and we made each other laugh. Which, when you find somebody that makes you laugh, you're on the same kind of love each other.
You stick with them.
You stick with them,
Yeah.
So we were going to write a sketch show that we could get up, and we had these characters, and we started writing it out, and we were going to play all the characters, and then it just started getting a little bigger than that. And at the time, Kevin's parents actually...
They were going through a divorce.
They were going through it.
It was like what I was going through in my own life at the time.
I'm sorry.
And it's okay. It was for the better.
I'm sure.
Okay. Mom, Dad, I love you very
always
much. But
painful.
that was the catalyst. It became like a therapy session for us. I had come to Troy with like my dad's one of those guys who like kind of Cliff is in the movie where he shares a little bit too much information. Like he tells you the dirty details of like a marriage that like I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear and it started as a conversation because he was upset that my mom had moved her lube from the top drawer into her purse. And so why are you having this conversation with your son?
I'm sorry, Miss Logie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But so it turned into, that's the comedy in this tragedy is that like these random things get said to you in the midst of all this chaos, and I didn't know how to make any sense of it. So hanging out with Troy was easy because we would talk about it because we're buddies, but then you start to joke about it, and the more we joked about it, and the more we spent like kind of thinking about what it's like to be in that situation, the character started to evolve, and it became much bigger than a sketch show, and now it's a feature.
Keep the microphone a little closer to your mouth.
I'm not. Hi.
What about?
Yes.
Dude.
What about me? So my parents are still together.
Yeah,
So I had nothing in common with the script. No, I'm kidding.
My father's dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But
Yes.
no.
Not funny.
I love you, Dad, but come on, I was going for a joke.
Yes.
It's funny to me.
It is funny.
It's fine. You can laugh. I'm giving you permission to laugh. It's okay.
So I met these gentlemen because Raph, who's not here, our director, reached out to me because somebody he knew had seen a film that I had produced and thought that I would be a good fit for this. And I saw that email and I was just, so tired of working on films, independent films. I had just gotten a stable job. And I almost, I was like, I'll respond tomorrow. But his email had said he was only in town a few days. So then I wrote back and I said, if you're only here, I start a new job tomorrow, but we can meet early. So they riled up the troops, and I met Kevin, Raph, and Troy for breakfast the next day. And so then I got up even earlier to read the script because it's all about the script. As much as I might like or not like, the script might trump that. So I got up early, I read the script, and by the time I went to the meeting, I already was like in love with the film. And then it was like the ice cream on top of the sundae, the cherry on top.
Cherry on top. The ice cream is kind of the sundae.
The sundae,
with whipped cream and a cherry.
The cherry on top of
an
the
extra ice cream
sundae
on top
that I
of the
call
cherry
my
on
life.
There you go. Yeah, it was just more
Another
ice cream.
ice cream with a
Was
cherry.
that they were great.
How many cherries was
Guys.
I don't know.
It's called a double down.
Well, it was beautifully written, that's for sure.
Yeah, so basically, when I met them, I just thought, this would be great to work together. And it took first thing we did is I budgeted the film. We started talking about how we would make this happen in practicality, and in practical terms. And then we just went from there. I ended up having to quit my job
Wow.
We went to Buffalo.
I was about to ask about the
Yeah.
challenges of getting this movie made, and that.
Well, we were in Buffalo 6 weeks later, and the weekend before I mean, there were so many things we couldn't have planned, like life or like any film. Buffalo had one of the worst storms in history. The weekend before our entire crew was moving to Buffalo.
October, right before Halloween.
It was October 2006.
Yeah, like every tree in Buffalo like broke in half because of all of the ice. Like
And this
so.
is a Thanksgiving film.
Wait.
Right,
Yeah.
so it was
Yeah.
a early winter storm where the trees hadn't shed their leaves yet, and so they became very heavy and broke, and it became a national emergency. So we were like, will they have electricity? Which is a
They didn't. I
real
actually.
question.
I was there a week before these guys. I lived in my mom's house with no electricity, no hot water
Wow.
for like 3 days.
Yeah.
It was like a
Miserable.
war zone.
Yeah.
So
It was like a war zone. Well, okay, so the movie's called The Dissection of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, most people, you know, I mean, you kind of associate with fall. You associate with the foliage, the reds and green, or the reds and browns and oranges and yellows of the leaves. So all of a sudden we get to Buffalo and all the trees are dead. And you're like, oh, and there's snow everywhere. So you're like, wait a second, how are we going to do this? But anyway.
But there's no global warming.
But as it happened, the FEMA guys from all over the country who were in town were staying at the same hotel.
Ha!
So we were like,
Holiday Inn!
so we got our electricity.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, is this part of the challenges question then?
Yeah.
Biggest challenge of the
Oh
movie?
yeah, I mean that was, you know, we're a small indie film, 19-day shoot, and
You
we
did
had
this in 19 days?
19 days.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
How?
All of our
Wow.
locations were free.
Wow.
All locations were free. We got a lot of food donated to us. It wasn't that good, but no offense if you're seeing this, anyone who cooked us food. It
Did we
was
really?
delicious.
We only went overtime on 2 days, by the way.
Overtime 2 days.
Only.
Wow.
Only 2 days. Both Jay and Kathleen did it at scale.
They're wonderful.
Yeah, they are. They are wonderful.
That's J.O. Sanders and Kathleen Quinlan who starred in the movie,
Yeah.
alongside Troy
And
Daisha.
yeah, and this guy Kevin.
And, yeah.
Let's not forget, he just didn't remember your name.
The other three weren't here. I want to make sure I said their names.
No, but you know, challenge-wise, you know, it was pretty. I mean, we ran into some speed bumps here and there, but I mean, it went pretty
Once
smooth.
we were going.
Yeah,
it
the
went-
challenges came after.
Yeah, I think
After
and
the
also-
movie.
I think the challenges were before, in terms of finding the right people to work on the film, and the right crew. And we spent a lot of time to do that. And so when we were in Buffalo, that went really well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
everybody
We had a
became
40
friends.
40-person crew.
And then, of course, we all questioned whether we should even go to Buffalo because of the emergency. So those things happened before, but I think once we were there, things just started to fall into place. Like, various locations came to us, people came to us, food.
The crew, like everyone in the crew wanted to read the script.
Almost every meal on set was donated by a different restaurant. That's why we have so many
That's
special
so
things.
nice.
Yeah.
And some people just went all out, like with name tags and different pastas that they were making for us. And it was great. So I feel like once we were in Buffalo, it was great. And then there were challenges in post, I guess.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
There's always challenges there. But the next question I wanted to ask was also, this movie is very special and it has a lot to say. What do you want people to get out of the experience of watching this movie? Is there a message or something you want them to remember? Because it's very touching.
I mean, I think really it comes down to, you know, Cliff says in the at the Thanksgiving dinner scene, you know, he says the blessing, and he says, "Keep this family together," which I think is, you know, no matter what. I mean, even if your parents aren't going to stay together, you're still a family, you know. And I think that it's important. Look, marriage is not easy, you know. It's a job, you know. And once you have kids, individually you start to, you know, there's things you want to do, but now you can't, you know. There's sacrifices you make and responsibilities, and then, you know, the two people that were individuals that became a couple are now parents, and so a lot of times, you know, the couple, the whole reason that there's a family in the first place, they start to just kind of get lost. So, I mean, I think really it comes down to, you know, family's everything, and to communicate, and to, you know, love each other and respect each other, and try your best to keep it together. You know, if it's not going to stay together, it's not going to stay together.
Don't take each other for granted.
Exactly. Don't take each other for granted.
Seems to be an occurring theme this year, that taking things for granted. Don't take things for granted. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to comment on this?
I mean, I think.
Do you want to comment on that?
No, I think you hit it right on the head. I think that you know, coming through this experience, you know, going through a divorce of your parents, and you start to see your, you know, it's that moment when you see your parents as individuals more than people. You know, they have the history of life that you don't even know about, and they start to open up to you, and I think the important thing is that you need to open up to each other, and in the movie, that's the one thing that Cliff can't do for the majority of the movie. He can't tell his wife of 30 years how he feels. And that's not because he doesn't feel or he doesn't care. You just kind of get into a place where, like, you just assume the other person sort of knows.
I know that moment where he picks up the pillow.
Yeah, and he screams, and he's got to let it out, and he's like, he'll fight for his family, he'll fight for his wife, he'll fight for the love of his life, and it's important to fight for those things, and not let go of the things that you care about, and open up instead of close in.
Yeah, I would say you said it, said everything, except that I think it's also about seeing that journey. Like, you just have to try. Like, when you're trying to relate to other people in your family, and to break that pattern.
Don't
And
be
that's
afraid
what
to
we
give that
see.
step,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's what we see with a lot of the main characters. Well, every member of the family, it goes through that in terms of communicating with someone else, either their brother or their sister or their mom, or, like, Brooke does that with Carol, her mother.
That would be Deja Drixhall.
Yes, and Jay Sanders does that with his wife. I'm mixing all their names up. Their real names and their actor names.
But that's what's beautiful about the movie, and how it's so special and well written. Every character has their own thing going on.
Right.
There's no wooden characters. They're all fascinating. You know what I mean? In their own way.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I kept remembering. It's like, all those characters are so well written. You know, and that's kudos to you guys. All right, let's do the next question then. Any projects for the future that we can look forward to?
Yeah, lots of things cooking. So I wrote a screenplay a few years ago based on a memoir by an Indian doctor called The Tennis Partner. So I'm working on developing that and getting financing for that in place. It's a story set in El Paso in the late 90s. So moving on to the 90s now.
I miss the 90s.
And of course I want to work with Kevin and Troy on everything. So we'll keep doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can next catch me on an episode of Let's Make a Deal.
Cool.
Airing April 1st. Dressed as a giant Yoshi. And I can't give it away.
From Mario?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So check that out. And of course, I want to work with these guys any day of the week.
Except Sundays.
Except Sundays.
Yeah, I have, you know, now that this is done, well, this part of it, the creative part of it's done, I feel like, you know, I've got several screenplays that are, you know, at different stages of development. You know, some are 60 pages, some are 5 pages, some are no pages. But
those are called ideas.
Those are ideas. But if you put them on a page, that's right. But I have a screenplay I'm writing that it's called The Kings of Burden, and
Good
that's
title.
Yeah, thank you. And that's my next thing.
You also do a lot of voiceover work.
Yes, I do.
Well,
This week on Real Time with Bill Maher. How was that? Did you like
you?
that? That was me, bro. I just did it. Ben Affleck.
Sarah
Sorry.
Sarah Silverman. Yeah, that's, I don't do it that way.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you, did it make you do that?
Yeah, it's cool. I've been doing voiceovers for
Ever?
a long time,
Yeah.
like 16 years.
Well, whatever your next project is, I'm looking forward, so.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
thank
High
you.
fives.
High fives.
Thank you.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Rehearsal, how did you all go about doing that, or how much of it did you all go about?
So
doing?
if we can't hear the question on camera, the question was how to go about rehearsals for the film.
Yeah, did you, was there a lot of them, or did
Well,
you just do multiple takes?
we did a table read in Buffalo, and then on set, you know, we would do some a few rehearsals. We hung out a lot.
We hung out.
We
went
did a
bowling.
lot of, you know, the family. So Deja, myself, Kevin, and Jay and Kathleen. We went out to dinners. We went bowling. We just spent a lot of time together while we were there. Went and got our pictures taken at Sears. And while we were there, acted like we were the family, you know, the Morgans. And so that made a big difference for us. So when we would get on set and do a quick rehearsal, it was kind of already in us. So that was it. But I think rehearsal is very important.
Yeah, I was wondering because it
Yeah.
felt the performances were so nuanced. It seemed like, you know, you guys had a lot of rehearsal time, or
Yeah,
it was very
You
lived
can
in.
always tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Just
that's
those little quirks here and there, like when he's rewinding that tape recorder, just that look on his face.
yeah, that was pretty fun. I wish Jay could have come. He's doing a show at the Public right now, so we missed you, Jay.
Yes, we
And
did.
my wife Deja.
We had Jay here on our first year for
Yeah.
the festival, so
That's right.
that was cool. All right, you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you. Thank you.
for being here, and yeah, see you later at the gala.
Next time.
All right.